What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Beyond Meat. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Beyond Meat is up a very impressive 17.84%, 86 cents the low, 103 the high, and 136 million shares being traded, 364 is the average. Market is very hyped up because of some good data, and the market is starting to assume a 25 basis point cut is on the table. You can see through even this. Bitcoin's price action, people's appetite for risk is very much on the table. So this is how Beyond Meat is getting more of a secondary run. And at the same time, you do have a lot of big accounts really pushing it. And 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗡𝗖𝗧, in my opinion, I don't follow him, but he's seems to be all over my Twitter, and so he is really pushing Beyond Meat, saying that unusual volumes is a good indication that big money is buying, and so forth and so forth. As of right now, there hasn't really been anything really coming out from Beyond Meat itself, aside from their most recent earnings. No SEC filings. Actually, mind you, there was a Form 4 that did come out, which did show a director, 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧, did sell 492 shares, and it is for actual just a straight up sell, not for tax purposes, and you can tell that based on transaction code S, not F. But still, someone selling 492 shares, I'm not worried whatsoever. So when it comes down to shorts, at the time of doing this video, they are returning 568,000 shares. At the peak though, it looks like they were increasing about 2.6. So they were kind of trying to slow the progress. Didn't really work out too well. Of course, as what 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗡𝗖𝗧 does mention, a lot of this has to do with institutions buying on the dark pool. So dark pool is often enough used by shorts and hedge funds. And as I showed you, shorts didn't really do any crazy spike or anything. So it is fair to assume, again, just process of elimination, hedge funds are buying Beyond Meat. So let me know your general thoughts on that. But like I said, right now, shorts are returning 568,000 shares, 21.32% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 93.87 million shares overall being shorted. I know this has been a little bit of a hot topic, whether this is accurate or not. Ortex, as of right now, is using the outstanding share count of 453.57 million, free float being 440.32 million. So if you believe that is incorrect, then of course the percentage of the free float being shorted is going to be incorrect, because it's all just formulas behind the scenes. So do your own due diligence at the end of the day. When it comes down to options, we are seeing about 3.29 million in calls, 2.6 in puts, and then 58% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, that's the bad thing about any stock roughly around $1. Like, there's very little analysis that you can do on this, because bulls aren't feeling that between 1 to 150 is on the table. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 1. So whoop-de-doo, not anything crazy. But looking at some of the transactions on the secondary market, you're actually seeing only one buy, and that is for 143,000. The rest are sells. So most of the volume is actually coming from algorithmic trading, just piggybacking off of the broader market's optimism, as well as clearly hedge funds buying and shorts returning. All of that is kind of contributing to Beyond Meat's pretty impressive day, mind you. And then these are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool. As I mentioned, a lot of which is linked to hedge funds as well as shorts. With it currently at 98 cents, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. 105 is going to be that next strong target / resistance, and it kind of bounced off to that general area. So 103 so far has been the high, and then 93 cents followed by 81 cents being the next strong support points. So in general, kind of following the technicals, but when it was starting to move higher, didn't really phase all that much, roughly around that 93 cent range. It just kind of burst higher. During the secondary run, kind of did flirt with that a little bit, so I would consider this a pretty good support level, that 93 cents. But the next strong target, like I mentioned, is going to be that 105, so just kind of watch for that. Aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart itself, it is finally showing signs of life. So now it is breaking above that 10-day moving average. The first time it's been above it since way back in October. So October the 28th was the last time it was officially officially above the 10-day moving average. So this might be potentially a sign of a nice push higher. I do really disagree with 𝗖𝗓𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧. He seems to be saying some very bold statements about Beyond Meat, saying that it's kind of getting prepared for a merger and that there's, or sorry, he might have not said that. Another big account said that, but still, that's kind of the stuff that's coming out. Just a lot of very, very speculative stuff. In my opinion, like I've stated way back when I even first started covering Beyond Meat, I said, hey, this is going to be a pretty good momentum play, but it has nothing to do with the fundamentals. Some people can disagree with me on that, and that's completely fair. But I think based on their most recent earnings, there's not really much going on operationally. So you can definitely swing trade this, just refer back to a lot of the support and resistance points, but I would not get in my opinion, based on kind of just the operational side of it. So a couple key points to watch for though. That 50-day moving average is sitting at 174, so potentially you could see a nice push higher to that point. That's again if a lot of this momentum does kind of continue on. But looking at the market position, you do see a lot more willing buyers, and all it needs is a nice gentle push, and you can get to roughly around that $1.52. So that is where most likely that 50-day moving average could be potentially touched. There really hasn't been that much in news or articles or analyst ratings. So today's push higher is just a combination of, as I mentioned, hedge funds buying, shorts returning, a lot of kind of finfluencers really pushing Beyond Meat, and just market's appetite for risk really increasing. So let me know your thoughts on Beyond Meat. I obviously have kind of mentioned my hesitation with Beyond Meat, so I'm not really willing to go YOLO in, but I definitely do acknowledge that there is a lot of good momentum behind the scenes. We've seen it squeeze many times in the past. Usually it does one big one a year, so I think it's already had that big one already, but I could be wrong. So let me know your general thoughts. Are you buying? Are you selling? Are you done with it? Are you just wanting it to pump so you can kind of get out? Or what's your general thoughts on all of that? And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Even when this was at 65 cents, I signaled it as a buy, put it as a exit roughly around that $6 range. So definitely worthwhile to pop over and check out a lot of my kind of signals. And because of Black Friday, I did lower the tiers as a promotion, so you can kind of check that out. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.